Hello everyone, and welcome to my first ever gouache lightfast test result video. These have been sitting in my window for 4 months, and there have been enough changes where I felt it was time to let you guys see everything. There are several brands here, both professional level and student grade, and we'll just go through them page by page. The way that I did my tests is that I painted a solid version of each color. So this is straight out of the tube, all these really vibrant ones. And then I tinted it down with titanium white a few times. And the reason for that is because some colors will fade more when they're tinted with white. So in order to get a really fair view of how the colors perform and how stable they are, it's really important to have a tinted version of each color. The colors have been sitting in my west-facing window for 4 months every day, all day. And we've actually had quite a bit of sun this spring, which is great. And I think that's a reason that I've seen some changes. I painted the control strips at the same time as I did these, and the control strips went into a drawer in my office, so they never see sunlight. That makes them basically the same as if they came out of the tube, and that's how I can compare what's happening in the sunlight. We'll start with Winsor Newton Designer's Gouache, which looks like this in the tube, and we'll just go down color by color. What I'll do is show you the sunlight strip, the one that's been sitting in the window for 4 months, right above the control strip, which I'll hold in my hand. So let's take a look and see if we can find any changes. These are pretty earthy colors, burnt sienna, burnt umber, and black, and which tend to not fade quite as much, so I can't see any changes here. It's kind of what I expected with those ones. Virtual Sarah here, just popping in to avoid some background noise. These red and pink strips were pretty much fine. I didn't notice any fading, but I'll be keeping my eye on them over time just in case. Next up we have some yellows and orangey tones. I don't see any changes in the sunlight version. Next we have some greens and blues. And yeah, I don't see anything changing here. This is a really good start. Lastly, let's look at the blues. Oh, okay. Check this out. This is Prussian blue, and Prussian blue does tend to fade in sunlight. It becomes a little bit less saturated, a little bit lighter, especially in those tints. Like, look at the massive difference between those two. So this is common among all brands pretty much. I mean, I've never seen a Prussian blue that doesn't do this, but maybe it does exist somewhere. I don't see any other changes though. All these blues look really good. Next up we have Shinhan Designer's Gouache. That's what this looks like in the tube. Let's jump into the colors. Ooh, that looks pretty good. I don't really see any... Nope, those look the same to me. Oh, can't forget the moss green. That looks good as well. All right. Next is Rowney Designer's Gouache, which looks like this in the tube. And I have a couple swatches here. This is the first few colors I bought, and then I bought more after, but yeah, those look the same. I didn't really expect any difference in those. They're pretty neutral. These are the colors that I bought, so let's take a look. This is the one that's been in the sunlight, and this is the control strip. That looks the same to me. I'm just checking these blues. Actually, no, I do see a tiny change here. It may not be visible in the video, but it will be in the scans probably. The lightest tinted version of the brilliant blue color here is barely lighter. It's a little bit less saturated. So we'll keep an eye on that in the coming months. I think I also can see that here as well. In the turquoise color, the lightest tinted version, it's a little bit less green. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on those in the coming months, but they're barely perceptible, but it is something. Next, we'll look at the Arteza gouache. This is the earth tone set. So it's a limited set, but it's all I have for the moment. I will eventually probably get the other colors just to swatch them for my tests. So as a reminder, this top one is the one that's been in the sunlight, and this one in my hand was in my control in the dark. All right. Oh, I definitely see some changes. Straight off the bat, we have much less warmth fading in the sunlight there. The blue here is much more desaturated and lighter. It's almost like a grayish blue there. The green is a little bit lighter here. It's definitely lighter there and less saturated. And same in the green. The lighter green here is way more yellow. And then the sunlight, it lost a lot of the yellow and it almost disappeared here. Like that color is now almost gone. Wow. All right. And then the browns, let's see. So this one is the sunlight one. These are actually okay. Yeah, a tiny bit of desaturation and a little bit lighter up here, but not quite as bad as the other one. Keep an eye on that though in the next couple of months. Next up is Royal Talens. I actually don't have the tubes anymore. I gave them away, but I still have the results to share. So let's start off here. So this one was in the sunlight, and the only difference I see is maybe this color is a little bit lighter. It's slightly, just barely detectable, and that's a little bit lighter than that. It's faded just a tiny bit. Next we have the yellows, browns. Those look okay. Yeah, I think those are okay. Next we have M-Gram Artist Gouache, which looks like this. And at the time of swatching these, I only had a few colors, but they actually recently sent me some new ones to test out. So I'll be adding to my Lightfast test soon. But for now, we'll look at this limited palette. So the top one is the sunlight version, and those look really good. I was worried about this tint, but that looks fine. Yeah, I think these are all okay, actually. That's good. Next we have Daniel Smith Extra Fine Gouache, which looks like this in the tube. And again, I only have a limited set of this, but I really like this selection of colors. And I really like it in my dried gouache palette, especially. Okay, those look fine. Yeah, these look okay, actually. I don't see anything changing. Next we have Caran D'ache. Again, I gave these tubes away, so I don't have the tube to show you, but this is the primary set. For some reason, I did this strip a little bit differently. These are the colors straight out of the tube. This one's the sunlight one, and then I tinted them all over here on the left. So they all look fine straight out of the tube. I don't see any changes there, and the tinted ones look pretty much the same. There might be a slight fade in the pinkish tone, but they look pretty good. Next up, we have Holbein Artist Gouache, which looks like this in the tube. One of my favorite brands. I've used it for a long time and it always performs well. This again is just a primary set, so we only have a few colors, but we'll see. These actually look good. I don't see any fading there, so that's good. I've used those for a long time. It's good to know. Okay. Next, we have the Miya HIMI gouache set of 24, which looks like this. It's the quote-unquote jelly gouache. Comes in little cups. And I've kept this closed for 4 months and not even touched it. But let's take a look at the colors here, the Lightfast tests. So again, this one is the one that's been in the sun, and the one in my hand is the control. Okay, we have some change there. we have some changes there. So the tinted versions of some of the greens are definitely not stable. That's too bad. I know most people use these for like sketchbook work, so you know that's not really gonna make a difference. Your sketchbook isn't in the sun usually, so but it's just always good to know what the colors will do if you do happen to hang it on the wall. Once again, all of the scans will be available on my gouache database. Next we have, wait, what color? Blues and purples. Wait, oh, for a second I thought I had the wrong color strip here because wow, that is, oh, look at how different that is. I thought, okay, anyways, I don't see a single color on here that hasn't changed. Maybe that one, but every single blue except maybe there is fading a lot. The violets have completely changed color and the tinted versions are almost gone. The lightest version of what they call ultramarine, that looks almost like I can barely see that. Those, yeah, okay. That's too bad because blues are so important for mixing. So you pretty much mix blue with everything in a painting, in a landscape at least. Next we have the reds, oranges, and browns. Those look okay. There's a little bit of fading in the yellowish orange. Oh, wow, that's weird. These are the ones straight out of the cup. And yet the tinted version is almost gone. That is incredible. Like this one especially. Wow, at full strength it doesn't change really at all, but as soon as you tint it with white, I mean that used to be that. That is crazy. These are okay, I think. Wow, that is just kind of blowing my mind a little. Lastly, we have some browns, yellows, and pinkish tones. Those look okay. That looks okay. That's good. The yellow's good. The pink. Yeah, the pink is fading. So is that one. So is that one. Okay. Oh, interesting. The white. Oh, interesting. The white here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is the color straight out of the cup. And in the sunlight version up here, it's like bleached out. All right. I don't know if that's going to show up, but this is the color, the real color, and that's the bleached version in the sun. I mean, it's nearly invisible there, so you might not be able to see the difference. But maybe that's the reason all the tinted versions are fading. I'm not sure. I think it's probably a combination of whatever pigments they use and the white. Just something to keep in mind if you use this brand. Next we have Royal and Langnickel, which I guess is a brand you can buy at Walmart and other places in the US. I had to get it online, but I actually returned it because it was so bad. I couldn't even use it. But I did want to make swatches for this test, so let's take a look. The white is again totally bleached out. There, that's almost gone. I didn't do tinted versions of this one because I was so annoyed at it. I apologize for that, but I have a feeling it would probably be similar to the Miya HIMI. It would probably be fading, but don't take my word for it. Do your own tests if you're going to use this brand. Prussian blue is fading, which is that's to be expected. You can pretty much always expect Prussian blue to fade, but they do say that if you put Prussian blue back in the drawer and let it sit in some darkness for a while, it will return to its original form, which I'm not sure if it actually does that, but I've heard a lot of people say that. Anyways, a buyer isn't going to keep their painting in the drawer, are they? So actually these all look the same. I don't even see the pinkish ones fading, that's good. But again, as we saw in the Miya HIMI, the full strength color can be fine and the tinted one can pretty much vanish in the sunlight. So if you want to use this brand, do some tests. Last but definitely not least, we have Schmincke Horadam gouache, one of my favorites. Okay, we'll start with the yellows, and they look okay, except they all look the same except this one, the Indian yellow. In the mass tone, it's a little bit more brown, and then in the sunlight version, it's a little bit more yellowish orange. So that's gonna be something I'll keep my eye on over time, but it's like barely detectable. It's just, I can just start to see that difference there. But the rest of them, they look okay. Next we have some greens and blues. You can kind of ignore those. Those were just some random color swatches I was doing with the greens and the blues. They're not in my, I don't actually have those colors in the tube. Let's see, so helio turquoise looks okay, helio blue looks okay, Delft blue looks okay, and ultramarine looks okay. I don't see any differences there. That's a really good sign. Lastly, we have some greens and reds. And I think a lot of these ones were gifted to me, but it's just good to know, you know, if they're stable or not, just in case I use them. Actually, they all look okay. Yeah, even the tinted pinks. That's really good. Good job, Schmincke. Just to let you know, I've done high resolution scans of everything, all the results, and that is available to see on my gouache database. My gouache database is a free resource you can check out. I have all my gouache reviews and swatches and mold tests and now Lightfast test results up there, so feel free to check that out. And of course, if you want actual gouache landscape tutorials, you can check out my Patreon. If your windows are old like mine are, you might get condensation, and if so, you have to have a way to separate the colors from the actual glass on the window, which is why I take so much effort in framing them. And I also have to have separation between the colors and the frame glass so that the condensation doesn't get in there and cause mold to grow. I need these strips to last a long time in order to do a fair comparison. So that's why I put them in these little picture frames and then give them plenty of space away from the outside window, from the condensation on the window. So these are really old frames that are pretty much broken, so I can't use them for anything else. But yeah, it looks like that, and then those go in the window. Thank you all for watching this video. I will be adding new colors to my tests as I receive them, and I'll give you another update in a few months. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up before you go, and I'll also share a playlist in the description of many other gouache videos I've made over the years. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you soon.